process bidding vaitarisira kuunza company documents anosanganisira
They were supposed to bring company documents which included
CR6,
CR6,
CR14,
CR14,
certificate of incorporation,
certificate of incorporation,
as well as tax clearance.
and the tax clearance.
Now, the did the four bidders supply the information that was required?
Company for aibida vakaunza ere zvacho zvaidikanwa.
Hongu akaunza sekutaurwa kwazvakaitwa mureport ye-evaluation committee.
Yes, they did bring the required documents, and this was stated in the petition
Ne-evaluation committee.
by the evaluation committee.
You said something about a report. This was stated in the
Evaluation report
Evaluation report by the evaluation committee.
by the evaluation committee.
proceed.
Now, I will concentrate on what we have stated as one of the requirements, the tax clearance certificate, which is on the bundle that we have. It should be on page 54, but it was admitted in court exhibit number 2. Yeah, page 54. Have you seen it? No, I'll give you.
Tax clearance 54 that is exhibit 1. Is that the Zimbra?
Oh yes, Zimbra is the exhibit number
It's
1.
exhibit 1.
Thank you.
I understand it's at page 54. You have found it? Okay, thank you. Yes, proceed, state.
Now, what were the expectations of the ministry in relation to the tax clearance certificate?
Tax clearance certificate.
So company yoga yaitarisirwa kuparticipate muchirongwa ichi yaifanira kunga ine a valid tax clearance.
So each company which was going to be participating in this program was required to have a valid tax clearance certificate for that particular year.
What was the implication? If Zimra had disowned a tax clearance certificate that was submitted in fulfillment of the requirements of the tendering process.
Zvaizoreva kana kuri kunzi Zimra yazoramba tax clearance inenge yoiswa pane avo vaida kunge vachipinda pachirongwa ichi.
Sekuona kwangu Zimra dai yaizoramba tax clearance zvaireva izvoni kuti ministry kana kuti hurumende inenge ya misleadwa neinformation isiri yezvokwadi.
This would have meant that the ministry or the government would have been served with the wrong information.
Ndo yandingada kuti kuda pamwe muchirungu fraud.
Which I would term as fraud.
what would then have entailed in relation to the state of the validity of the bid that was submitted?
Zvaizoreve pabhidhi yacho inenge yaiswa kane kambani yacho kana zvakadaro.
Sekuona kwangu zvine zvaakureva kuti ndishandisa mavara echirungu kuti to be null and void. Nemhaka yekuti yaunzwa ine mapepa asiri echokwadi pamutemo.
It would meant that it was null and void. The reason for that is because the company would not have supplied the proper documents that were required.
Did the winning bidder, Black Deck Private Limited, supplied a NASA compliance certificate?
The Black Deck vakabudisa here NASA compliance certificate.
Kana ndicharangarira vanofanira kunga vakauyisa NASA compliance certificate.
If I still recall very well, they must have provided us with the NASA compliance certificate.
I think maybe my friends, I don't know that they want to object. I see there's a very serious talk.
No, they are naturally expected to converse among themselves since they are involved in this trial, as you know, the three of them. So as the trial progresses, they naturally converse. As long as they, so don't get distracted.
It was just out of courtesy.
Yes. Maybe you have to start conversing in sign language. But anyway, as long as you don't disturb the proceedings, I understand that such conversations should really be expected. Yes.
Now,
Proceed.
Now, Dr. Basera, in relation to the NASA compliance certificate that was presented by the winning bidder, Black Deck Private Limited, what effect would it have had on the bidding process if NASA had disowned the certificate that was produced?
Kana kunzi NASA vakaramba certificate vangaraudzwa negoti zvaizokanganisa sei bid?
Zvinoreva izvo nekuti anenge aunza bhidhi iroro haana kutendeka. And ndo yanikada kuti zvakare pachirungu fraud kuda pamwe zvine kakubikwa kemapepa kuitira kuti decision iende kwavanenge vachida kuti iende.
It would mean that, as I've already stated, that this was a fraud because it meant that the documents that were produced were not genuine documents, but they were produced in such a manner that the bid would go in their favor.
And what effect had that what effect did the denial of the documents by both NASA and Zimbra on the contract which was entered into between the government of Zimbabwe through your ministry and Black Deck Private Limited?
Saka kubuswa kwemapepa akadaro zvaizonge zvichizokanganisa sei contract yamama saina inini nekuministry nehurumende neveBlack Deck?
Zvaireva kuti tapinda mucontract kana kuti muwanano yebusiness nemumwe asina kuvimbika, zvoreva izvo nekuti pachirungu is null and void, hapana contract.
So it would mean that we had entered into a contract with someone who was dishonest, which would then make the contract null and void.
Now, if I may jump ahead and ascertain from you on what became of the contract
Contract yacho.
between the government of Zimbabwe and Black Deck Private Limited.
Contract ingaipo pakati pe-government of Zimbabwe neBlack Deck.
So tasainirana tapinda muwanano iyi neBlack Deck, mari yaitariswa imomo total amount yanga iri about 87 million kana ndicharangarira zvakanaka.
So after we had signed or entered into this agreement, we signed the contract with Black Deck, the money which was involved was around 87 million.
Not currency.
Aya anga ari ma US dollars, and mutemo watatakapeta contract iyoyo was kuti payable in any currency since it is multi-currency regime.
It was in US dollars, but according to the agreement, the money was payable in any currency.
Sanganisira local currency, US dollar, nemangma currencies are mu multi-currency basket.
That included local currency, US dollar, and other multiple currencies which we are using.
So zvazodaro inisa accounting officer ndakabva ndaonawo tichitarisa principle yedu kana kuti policy ye value for money, ndoona kuti mbudzi dzinokwana 500,000 dzoita 87 million. Mari iyi pambudzi yakati wandise pambudzi imwe chete nemhaka yekuti.
So as the accounting officer, going through the principle of
value for money,
the value for money, I then noticed that 87 million for 500,000 goats was exorbitant.
So ndakabva ndatora team yangu ndikati kunyange masaina contract uyo price yabvuma yaita no objection.
So together with my team, we then discussed that even if PRAS had made these recommendations,
ngatipindei pamusangano wekutaurirana mutengo wembudzi imwe chete, nemhaka yekuti mutengo wembudzi imwe chete waibva parange kana ndicharangarira kuma 175 kusvika pa $250.
I suggested that we have a meeting where we would discuss the price of each goat, because at that time the value of each goat was around
175 kusvika kunana $250 iri mbudzi imwe chete.
Was around 175 to around $250
Okay.
for one goat.
So
Can you pause there? So that was your estimation, that it should cost Mr. Interpreter, you said between
$175
two.
250.
About 250. That was the interpretation per goat. Chitarisa 500,000 87 point something million US dollars.
Looking at 500,000 goats and the $87 million.
Yes, proceed.
Yes.
So takapinda mnaurirano na contractor wedu kana kuti supplier vakapinda mnaurirano ne department ma departments eku ministry.
So we had a discussion with our supplier.
Then mutengo wembudzi imwe chete ndobva waderedzwa ukasvika kumuyero we$75 kusvika kuma$92 zvichienderana nebreed.
And the price of each goat was then reduced to around $75 to $90 depending on the breed.
So zvadaro takabva tati ngatichirove basa nemhaka yekuti value for money ya principal yazadzikiswa sekuona kwangu se-accounting officer mazuva iwayo.
So after that, we decided to proceed because I, as the accounting officer, was satisfied with the value for money.
So $75 kusvika pa$90 iyi yaisanganisira mutengo wekutenga mbudzi kwavainodzitora kwavainotenga source.
So the $75 to $90 per goat included the price for the goats and where they were going to buy them.
Kozouya mobilization yekuendesa kumasenda kwadzainounganidzwa munzvimbo nenzvimbo.
Mobilization, that is taking them to the centers of those areas where they were supposed to go.
Kozouya zvakare
If you may watch his lordship's pen.
Also mobilization, transportation of the goat.
transportation, yes.
Yes.
Kuenda ku atingada kuti masenda kwadzainoiswa holding pens or holding centers. Yaisanganisira zvakare onward distribution. Ndashaya kuti ndingashandisa vara ripi rechishona.
That also included onward distribution.
Kuendesa kune misha iya yatanga takatageta. So ndo zvaikwana $75 imomo kusvika pa$90 zvichienderana nemhando yembudzi.
So that was to those households that we had were going to receive the goats. So that was what was included in the $75 to $90 per goat.
So tadaro taakurova basa. Takabva tasvika padanho rekuti mucontract tanga tiine clause kana kuti tanga tiine a section yaitaura nezveadvance payment.
So there was a clause or a section which talked about advance payment.
Kuitira kuti tivake masimba, tipe masimba kana kuti to build capacity kuna supplier wedu akwanise kumhanyisa program nekutyaira program zvakanaka.
So that we could build capacity for our supplier.
So naizvozvo takabva tatrigger clause iyoyo. Taitrigger kudaro requirement yanga iripo yanga iri yekuti supplier aiuya neinonzi a bank guarantee.
So we then triggered that clause in the contract, and that meant that our supplier would have to bring a bank guarantee.
So bank guarantee ndo raitipa yaningada kuti simba rekuti tichikwanise kumbomupa mari yekuti atangise basa.
So that bank guarantee would then empower us to give the supplier money.
Naizvozvo takabva tabhadhara mari bank guarantee kana ndicharangarira raibva kumet bank rakauya tobva tabhadhara mari mazuva iwayo kuda yaiwa 1.6 kana kuti 1.9 billion Zim dollars.
So after having received that guarantee from Met Bank, we then paid an amount of
1.6 or 1.9 billion Zim dollars.
we paid an amount between 1.6 or 1.9 billion dollars.
Imari tazoipatsanura
US dollars?
so 1.9 billion Zim dollars. Do I want Mara TGS? That's why. So mari taipatsanura nekuitendereza into my US dollars. Yaishika, yaifura 7 million US dollars. Kandicharangarara, it was 7.5 or 7.7 million US dollars.
So that amount, after having been converted to USD, would give us an amount of about
7.7 million.
7.7 million US dollars.
Yes. So takachifara tikati program yatanga. So muku,
If you interpreted that?
So we were happy that the program had started.
so mukutarisana nedepartment redu reagri-tax kuti program yava papi ndopo takazoona kuti program haisi kunyatsofamba sekutarisa kuti takaita uyezve as per the contract.
So when we made follow-ups to agri-tax about the program, we then realized that the program was not progressing as we had anticipated.
So kwakaitwa misangano yakawanda na supplier wedu.
So there were a number of meetings that we held with our supplier.
Tichitarisa kuti nemhaka yei vasiri kusupplier zvinhu zvaenderana neadvance payment yavanga vapiwa.
Because we wanted to establish as to why the supplier was not supplying us with the goods as per the money that we had paid him.
Pause there. Yes, proceed, state.
Yes. What were your findings?
That's the one.
So takabva tati kuna supplier tochibvunza kuti zviri kufamba sei. Supplier ndokunyora tsamba kwatiri, ndofunga kuda pamwe mafiles ekuministry iriko yekuti program iri kufamba zvakanaka. Pari zvino taunganidza mbudzi dzinosvika 32,500 somewhere ikoko.
So we wanted to find out from the supplier what was happening, and the supplier then wrote us a letter in which the supplier indicated that by then they had managed to supply us with 32,500 goats.
So 32,500 goats idzi light idzo dzanga dzaenda kuma holding points.
So the supplier went on to mention that the 32,500 goats had been taken to the holding points.
And pending onward distribution kune misha yatanga tichitargeta.
And that they were waiting for the distribution to the targeted households.
So inine hunye nekufungawo kuti ko kana mbudzi dzasvika kuma holding pens ko dzinomirirei ngadziendeka kumamisha kwatiri kutargeta.
So as the accountant, I was concerned about why the goats were in those holding pens rather than being distributed to the targeted households.
Pause there. Yes.
Go on. What do you do? What do you then do?
Makazoite.
Tikati hai vakomana department nema-departments akasiyana siyana nema-auditors ekuministry endai munoone kuma-holding pens kuti mbudzi 32,000 dziriko here dzingaita sedzinoenderana ne-advance payment yatanga tabhadhara.
I then suggested that my department, together with other departments, visit the holding pens so as to be able to make sure that the 32,500 votes were in those holding pens.
So timu yakaenda ikaita kuda pamwe mavhiki maviri matatu ndokudzoka nereport.
So the team went and they spent about a week or two and they then returned with the report.
Report yakandikatyamadza zvakanyanyisa. Yairatidza kuti kuma holding pens kune mbudzi dzasingapfuuri 3,000.
I was actually surprised by the report because it stated that there were goats that were not more than 3,000 in those holding pens.
Asisu taitasira kuti kune kuine mbudzi dzinopfuura 30,000 dzaita sedzaendera nemari yatanga tabhadhara uyewo sezvanga zvanyorwa mutsamba neBlack Deck.
But we were anticipating that there were going to be 32,000 goats in those holding pens, which were equivalent to the amount that we had paid and which had also been stated by Black Deck.
So ipapo se-ministry se-accounting officer ndakanzwa kunyiswa kuti apa panenge pane nyaya iripo apa takabva tatanga kuisa ma-question marks.
So as a ministry, it actually raised a red flag,
Red flag? Yeah.
for us.
And send that out.
Yes.
So paita red flag kudaro takabva taita musangano netimu yedu tikati apa panenge pane nyaya apa tinenge tine kakunyiswa kataitwa.
So after realizing that there was a red flag, we then held a meeting as a ministry.
So ndakabva ndati department redu re-finance, department re-legal services, department re-agri-tax na auditor handei for a recovery.
So I suggested that our department, together with the finance department, as well as agri-tax and the auditors,
Legal.
the legal services,
Let's go for a recovery.
that I suggested that we go for a recovery.
Because tangatanyiswa kapa tikati handei for a recovery. So my options are Taiwan now, which I proposed to the teams.
So there were options which I then proposed to the teams to make those recoveries.
Okay. What do you mean by recovery?
Recovery yanga iri nyaya kuti either ndo ma-options andada kupinda kutaura nezvawo. Either Black Deck would pay us our money.
So one of the recoveries was that either Black Deck would pay us back our money,
Or ngavaendese mbudzi dzinoenderana ne-advance payment.
or that they would supply the goats that were equivalent to the advance payments that we had done.
Specific performance, that is. Kana kuti taita call.
She hasn't interpreted what he said. God's equivalent to the amount paid. He
Yes,
said something
advance.
about specific performance.
But in doing not specific performance.
Kuti ngava performe as per and commensurate to the advance payment.
So that meant that they were supposed to perform as to the advance payment that they had received.
Imwe option zvakare which I presented to the team. Oh, sorry, Dr. Anish. Imwe option zvakare yatakapa seyambiro kune team yaita izvi, committee yaita izvi. Yanga iri yekuti let us call for the guarantee.
So the other option which I suggested to the team was to call for the
Guarantee.
guarantee.
Ndo bank guarantee iya ndo zvatinoidira izvozvo kuti munhu akatadza kuperforma tonokola guarantee, bank guarantee toti bhanga munhu wenyu uyu kana kuti nhumbu yenyu iyi rega ndishandise vara rekudaro yatadza kudhilivhara imi makavati vachadhilivhara asi havana kudhilivhara, so ndo zvatinoshandisira bank guarantee izvozvo.
So the bank guarantee that we had received was the one that I suggested we would use so that we can recover the money that we had paid them, because the bank would then have to make that payment.
Now, as you were pondering on the best option to proceed in recovering the money, had the accused person been called to explain the variance that had been noted after the visits to the holding site?
Yes, I anticipated the objection. You said the accused persons, but he has not spoken about the accused persons.
Oh, no. So I meant to say blackjack.
I'm sure that was the objection.
That was the objection.
Saka muchifunga matano ekutora makadana here black day kuti vange vachizonge vachizotsanangura kuti neipapa nemusiyano yawangora.
Yeah, so vakadana hongo, vadana kudaro vakaita meetings neteam yedu, asi hapana chakabuda nemhaka yekuti holding pens kwanga kusina mbudzi dzaitarisirwa.
Yes, a meeting was held with the Black Deck concerning the issue about the goats, but the meetings were fruitless because there were no goats in the holding pens.
Saka apa tatarisira tata kugore rekunana 2023.
So at that time we were in the year 2023.
And kuda pamwe vakazombo Supplier handichanyasorangarira, asi nimi na November 2023 ndopandakabva nda toti kudizve transferiwa to the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works.
So I would not know if the Black Deck managed to supply more goats, but around November 2023, that's when I was transferred or reassigned
Ministry of Local Government.
to the Ministry of Local Government.
Just wait there. Yes.
Now, at that point, what was the contract still in force? At the time you left the Ministry of Agriculture to the Ministry of Local Government.
Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Local Government.
Hongo contract yanga ichiripo, asi ndangada siya recommendation yekuti zvinhu izvi zvikasaitika izvi, let's cancel the contract.
Yes, the contract was still there, but I left a recommendation that if they did not meet certain requirements, then the contract could be cancelled.
Yakanseliwa, then totora the legal route. In fact, tangata to trigger our legal services could vatore action.
And that after the contract was cancelled, we would then take the legal route. And by that time, we'd actually triggered our legal counsel.
Kuitira kuti tiwane mbudzi dzedu dzaenderana nemari yanga yabhadharwa,
so that we could be able to get the goats,
kana kuti
the correct amount of the goats that we had paid for.
Kana kuti towana, we call for the guarantee, towana mari yedu from Black Deck, kana kuti from the bank, rangaraita guarantee.
Or to get our money back from the bank or from Black Deck.
So ipapo ndikaisa koma ndo pandakazoisira November 2023.
So that is how I then left the issue in November 2023.
I see. Now, if I may take you back, Doctor. Now, would you remember when the contract was signed between the government of Zimbabwe and Black Tech Private Limited?
muchikurangara kuti contract iyi yakasainwa rini contract iyi pakati pehurumende neblack tech?
kuda kupera kwa 2021 kana kuti kutanga kwa 2022 after maprocesses esaya andataura azadzikiswa so handichanyasiziva the exact date.
2021 or beginning of 2022, after all the requirements were met.
Ndopangu pandaida kapepa kangu kaya.
You want an open book examination? But I'm sure the state will attend to those issues.
Yeah.
Now, if you may have a look at the document in this consolidated exhibit, documentary exhibit, it's on page 52. Sorry, I mean page 32. 32. Have you seen the document? From page 32 to page 50.
Yes.
What document is that?
Ndo yaiwa contract yaiwa pakati pe government of Zimbabwe ichimirirwa ne Minister of Local Government, Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development na partner wedu kana kuti supplier wedu Black Tech Livestock and Poultry Farming.
This was the contract between the government of Zimbabwe, represented by the Ministry of Lands and Agriculture, and our partner Black Tech Livestock and Poultry Farming.
Now,
Sorry, the partner, Black Tech, the full name of the partner, Black Tech?
Livestock and Poultry Farming.
And yakasainwa musi wa 16 November 2021.
It was signed on the 16th of November 2021.
Thank you.
and who signed on behalf of the supplier, on behalf of Black Tech?
Akasaina akamirira Black Tech ndiyani?
Akasaina akamirira Black Tech is operations manager, Mr. Moses Mpofu.
It was the operations manager, Mr. Moses Mpofu.
Akawitnessa
Yes, who was his witness?
Mr. Tinashe Chimombe, sales manager.
His witness was Mr. Tinashe Chimombe, the sales manager.
I see. My Lord Honorable Assessors, the state is applying for the production of the general conditions of contract for the supply of delivery of goods for the presidential import person scheme between the government of Zimbabwe and Black Deck Livestock and Poultry Farming, dated the 16th of November 2021.
Defense?
No objection, my lord. We have no objection.
Do you still have? Okay. It is 19 pages.
From page
I see there's an
32
index
to
there.
51. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there are 19 pages.
Very well, we receive in evidence the document which describes itself as the general conditions of contract for the supply and delivery of goods for the presidential input pass-on scheme between the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe, represented by the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, and Black Deck Livestock and Poultry Farming, dated 16 November 2021 as Exhibit 4.
Indeed, my lord. Now, Now, this process of calling for bids, if I may take you back, was it publicized for the members of the general public to be aware of such a project that your ministry intended to embark on?
yakashambadzwa muma newspaper akasiyana siyana.
Yes, it was published in different newspapers.
Uyo zvakare nemugovernment gazette.
And also in the government gazette.
If you may have a look at this document on page 51. You recognize it?
What is the other? Yes.
What is it all about?
So the government gazette
It is a government gazette.
irikudaidza mabidders kuti vaparticipate muprogram vane zvikwanisiro zviri mubidding document
So it
ratanga
was
tapa.
inviting bidders who have the necessary requirements to participate in the program.
Which program was that?
And get the program here.
Yanga iri program ye-presidential God's Person scheme.
The presidential God's Pass On scheme.
And when was it published in the government gazette?
Kashambadzwa rini mu government gazette.
Muswa 3 sorry. Abasi kuchanisa kuoneka but
It's not legible.
but in the September 2020
It's on the top, right at the top.
okay, 3rd September 2021.
3 September.
3
September,
September
yes.
2021.
I see. My Lord, Honorable Assessor, the state is applying for the production of the government gazette dated the 3rd of September 2021.
Objection? Any objection?
Objections, my lord.
Exhibit 5.
Really, my Lord. If you may move on to the next page, page 52.
Yeah, but what is on it?
With, on page 52 where there is...
No, I'm saying what is on this exhibit that you have produced?
the exhibit, my Lord, that the state...
It's just produced this exhibit 5.
is applied to produce as an exhibit. It's a government gazette dated the 3rd of September 2021, publishing the intention, calling for bids in relation to the presidential person good scheme.
Very well. We note that. Thank you.
Do you recognize the document on page 52?
Was there a page 52?
Hongo.
Yes,
What is it?
meeting.
So igwaro rikupa summary yema programs kusanganisira program yatiri kurukura nezvayo muzuva ranhasi ye-presidential God Person Scheme.
So this is a document which lists the programs which also include the presidential God's Person Scheme.
Uye zvakare raipa mimwe yemitemo or ma-instructions zviri maringe ne-procurement or the bidding process.
And it also gave the stipulated the requirements of the,
Nemusi waivhara the bidding process, closing date,
and also the closing date for the bidding process.
uye nekwaifanira kuendeswa mapepa evaida kuparticipate muprogram.
And also where the papers or the documents were supposed to be taken for those that were interested in the program.
That information, where was it found?
Mashoko yavanhu
So mashoko aya aiwanikwa zvakare muma newspapers matanga tashambadza uye zvakare nemugovernment gazette.
that information was published in the newspapers as well as the government gazette.
And what particular newspaper was that?
Iranga iri newspaper ripi?
Right at the top.
Andinotasa musoro.
Okay, so yanga iri Sunday Mail.
This was the Sunday Mail.
Yeah.
My Lord and Honorable Assessors, the state is applying for the production of an advert in the Sunday Mail, Sunday Mail, in respect of the presidential God Person Scheme as an exhibit before the court.
Very well. Any objections?
No objections, no.
It's just one page, isn't it?
It's a one-page, my Lord.
It's one page. Shall be Exhibit 6 by consent.
Indeed, my Lord. Now, if you may proceed to page 52. There is a 3-page document. Organize it. Have you seen it?
Kudapa mungandiratidza from your side.
It's page 62, 62.
Oh, 62.
Not 52.
52. Wrong.
Yes.
What is that document about?
So report ye-evaluation committee yaiwa an evaluation of tender
This is the report from the evaluation committee, which was an evaluation tender.
evaluation of tender
Evaluation of tender
for the supply and delivery of goods under the Presidential Livestock Input Person Scheme.
When was the evaluation, when did the evaluation took place?
Evaluation yakaitwa lini?
Yakaitwa musi wa 12 October nguva ichiti 9 o'clock ku Ministry of Lands and Agriculture Kungumunyana building.
It was done on the 12th of October 2021 at around 9 a.m. at Gungonyana building.
Now, what were the recommendations
My recommendation
by the committee, the evaluation committee?
The recommendations aisanganisira
The recommendations included
awards to the lowest bidders as per tender specifications.
awards to the lowest bidders as per tender specifications.
So panga paine quantities embudzi dzaidiwa
So there were quantities of the goats that were
breeds
required,
acho
their breeds,
uyezve bidders vanga vari the lowest bidders
and the bidders who were the lowest bidders,
uye zvekare nemari yaenderana,
and the equivalent amount,
which was the tender sum.
My lord, the state is making an application before the court for the tendering of the Ministry of Lands and Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development evaluation of tender in respect of the Presidential Livestock Input Person Scheme as an exhibit before the Honorable Court.
Very well. Any objections?
None, my lord. No.
Thank you. Wait, it's too big. You need a smaller stapler. Very well. So the document described as the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development evaluation of tender, supply and delivery of goods for the Presidential Livestock Input Person Scheme shall be Exhibit 7 now, is it?
Yes.
By consent.
Indeed. Now should we move on to page 65,
page 65.
which is pages 56, 55, so 65 to 66. Do you recognize the document?
Page 66. What is very well.
Bongo.
Yes.
What is the document about?
So gwaro iri ndo yatingada kuti award letter yaenda ku Black Jack.
This document is the one that would term the award letter.
ichivapa
was going to Black Deck.
ichivapa mashoko anga akanaka mazuva iwayo ekuti wawina tender.
And this letter was actually informing Black Deck that it had won the tender.
The state is applying for the production of a notification to Black Deck Private Limited dated 3 November 2021 of winning of the tender as an exhibit before the court.
Any objections?
No objections, my lord. No objections.
If you may,
It shall be Exhibit 8.
if you may move on to page 68.
Eleven, 68.
Do you recognize the document, Dr.
Ongo, ndinoriziva igwaro raningada kuti internal document.
This is an internal document.
Yaibva kuna director we-livestock production aiwa watingati ndiye muridzi weprogram,
Which came from the director of livestock production.
richienda kuna chief director agricultural and rural development advisory services.
It was addressed to the chief director of agricultural and rural development advisory services.
Ichiva iri report yetimu yanga yabuda kuma holding pens kunoona kuti sure zvanga zvataurwa neBlack Deck kuti kune mbudzi dzinopfuura 32,000 chaiva chokwadi here.
This was a report that they compiled after the team had visited the holding pens to make sure that there were more than 32,000 goats.
So muripoti umu mairatidza sezvandambotaura paya kuti kuma holding pens kwanga kuine 3,388 goats chete, kwete zvanga zvanyorwa neBlack Deck 32,500 goats.
So this report actually showed that there were less than 3,000 goats in the holding pens, which was different from what Black Deck had indicated.
How many goats? 3,000?
3,388 goats. Those are my holding pens.
3,388 goats.
Okay.
As opposed to 32,500 goats as had been reported. Sorry, Dr. Chimombe. Sekutaura kwazvanga zvaitwa neBlack Deck.
It doesn't matter as long as the interpreter doesn't get confused. The tragedy is that she will have to repeat what you have said, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, state.
Yes. Now, during the performance of your duties, did you have access to that reconciliation of the goats the report on the
Hongo, ndini ndaitova ndatuma ma-departments aya kuti vanoasese kuona kuti zvataurwa mutsamba ndizvo here.
I was the one who had assigned these departments to go and verify what was in the letter.
So ndinokonfirma kuti gwaro iri rakapfuura nemumaoko mangu semuridzi wegwaro.
So I do confirm that this letter passed through my hands.
My Lord Honorable Assessors, the state is applying for the production of the reconciliation report of votes which were being held at all the pens after the verification had been done.
Any objections?
No objections, my lord. We have no objections.
Exhibit 9.
Intended, my lord.
By consent.
Now, if you may, move on to page 73. Do you recognize the document there? Sorry?
Ndichiri kuretarisa.
I'm still going through it.
Take your time.
Hongo.
Yes.
What does that document speak to?
So document iri itsamba kana kuti mwadi yaenda ku Black Deck kuna operations manager anga assign a contract.
This was a letter which was written to the operations manager for Black Deck.
Ichiwapa soko rakanaka shata reconciliation of the contract.
In which it was informing Black Deck of the cancellation of the contract.
Who was the who was the person to whom the letter was addressed to?
It was addressed to the operations manager, Black Deck, Mr. Moses Mpofu.
It was written to the operations manager for Black Deck, Mr. Moses Mpofu.
When was the letter written? Cancelling the...
Yakanyorwa muswa 19 August 2022.
On the 19th of August 2022.
Were you still with the ministry?
Ma'am, Chief General Ministry.
ndanga ndichiriko.
Yes.
Are you privy to the reason why the contract was cancelled?
Yeah, so yanga iri nyaya ye delivery. Delivery aina kuitika.
It was because no delivery
But-
was done.
As uyo zvakare pane zvanga zvambobuda mune yatinoti the RBZ Financial Intelligence Unit report yekuti mari kana kuti advance payment yatanga tapa ku Black Deck haina kunga yakafambiswa zvakanaka zvingatendedzeka nemutemo.
And also there was information from the RBZ Financial Intelligence Unit that stated that the money that had been advanced to Black Deck had not been used accordingly.
Yeah. So yaiva intention to cancel the contract and yaiva yataura zvakare nyaya yekuti mbudzi dzaifanira kudhilivharwa dzinoenderana nemari yanga yabhadharwa kuma-holding centers. Otherwise, dai zvisina kuitwa the process ye-debarment yaitangiswa kuitwa.
So this letter was to inform Black Deck that we're in the process of cancelling the contract, and also to inform them that they must deliver the goats at the holding centers that were equivalent to the money that had been advanced to it, failure of which the debarment process would then begin.
What is debarment?
What's debarment?
Debarment tingati i-blacklisting inoitwa kana supplier achinga atadza kudelivera kana kuti kuperforma as per the agreement
It's
or
a
as per the contract.
blacklisting of a supplier when a supplier fails to deliver as per agreement.
State.
Now, you earlier on told this Honorable Court that an amount of 1.6 billion in Zimbabwean currency at the time was advanced to Black Deck Private Limited, which you said was equivalent of about 7.7 million United States dollars. How many goats did the ministry expect the supplier to deliver in respect of that amount which was paid to it?
Mataura kakuti mari inoite 1.6 billion mari yemuno Zimbabwe yakaipiwa kasupplier iyo yakaenzana ne 7.7 million USD. Saka ministry yaita sirambudzi ngani?
Ministry yaita sirambudzi kana ndicharangarira saifanira kunga dzichipfuura 80,000 kana ndicharangarira.
So the ministry expected to receive 80,000 goats, if I still remember correctly.
And how many goats were delivered?
Dzakasvitswa ingani mbudzi?
Ndichiko dzanga dzasvika, and from the report yeteam yakaenda paground kunoassessa dzanga dziri 3,388.
from
dzanga dziri kuma-holding pens.
the observations that were made by the team that was sent to the holding pens, the goats that were in the holding pens were 3,388.
Now,
Maybe my lord, if the record can indicate that the witness had also indicated that whilst he was still at the ministry.
Of course, I'm recording everything. You're already making submissions.
No, not as much, my lord. I thought the interpreter in interpreting it missed that, so I wanted so that the transcription would read
So
correctly.
what you do is, if you're not happy with the interpretation, you challenge it. We may then seek clarification. But naturally, I record everything that is said. But if you raise it as such. I'm sure you understand the point I'm making. So, interpreter, you can, although I don't know how I recorded it, but I recorded it when I was still there. I will show that 3,388 had been delivered. So that's what the record, that is what is on record. You are happy with that? Thank you.
how much were they worth? Because that were delivered.
Handicharangarira asi tikangotora sho 3,388 multiplied by an average of about $75. Ndo kwadzaiwa.
I cannot remember, but if you do the math, that is 3,388 multiplied by $75 per goat.
Which, these are US or Zimbabwe dollars?
US.
3,388.
75 on average.
254,100.
Yes, do you agree with that calculation? Unfortunately, we have to do it. We have to agree. It's just like a witness estimating a distance. Then at the end of the day, we must agree on what it is. He has said the value can easily be ascertained by multiplying 3,388 by 75. I think you can use both ends, the minimum and the maximum. I think he used two figures there, 75 and 90. So what is 3,388 by USD 75?
75, 254,100.
And by 90?
By 90, it is 304,920.
Thank you.
Now, you have given a very long narration of what happened in connection with this presidential court pastoral scheme. Who were you dealing with in respect of Black Day Private Limited?
So, mukunyora mapepa aiwa Moses Mpofu. And kufambira nyaya.
Wait.
Nyaya.
If you move too fast, you'll miss something and she'll be in trouble.
So in writing the letters or the documents, it was Moses Mpofu.
Then mukufambira nyaya aiwa Moses Mpofu. Then namacho.
So in making inquiries pertaining to the program, it was Moses Mpofu and Mike Chimombe.
Yes.
What was the position of Moses Mpofu in Black Day? That's the benefit.
Most people who elected private limited one issue to
As per the contract, Vice Operations Manager.
As per the contract, he was referred to himself as the operations manager.
And what was the position of Mike Chimombe
For how many
in Black Tech?
My Lord, if you may just make an objection, I do not report the witness saying the second accused was black.
Maybe I'll rephrase the question in what capacity?
In what capacity was Mike Chimombe involved in the issue pertaining to Black Tech?
So Mike Chimombe na Moses Mpofu vaiuya kuma meetings aiitwa one kusaina ma contracts as Mike Mpofu Mike Chimombe hana kusaina contract, is not in the contract.
So Mike,
but ma meetings aiitwa nekufambira nekufambisa nyaya vaiwanika wale.
so Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu would attend the meetings that were held.
Counsel as to my friend from the first accused person. My Lord, we just have a difficulty with the adversary's processes in respect of, I think there has to be a better word from the interpreter, because it might mean a lot of things will come to, he was moving around in the processes, what exactly, it has to be clear.
Okay. Can you repeat your...
In actual fact, my Lord, these are the issues that he can ascertain during cross-examination. He doesn't have to prescribe any word that the witness must use. If he has got any misgivings about any words that are being used by the witness that are giving a wrong impression to his client, they can always redress that through cross-examination, not redirect the witness before time to change a word that has been used. Unless the only misgiving that he can have is the interpretation given by the interpreter. Not.
I'm sure he's concerned with the interpretation.
Is that so? So I thought I understood. I thought he was challenging the.
That's why I said perhaps naturally it's not it's an objection. It's not whatever it is. It's an issue with the interpretation. So maybe if it is couched that way, that we have an issue with the interpretation, then it becomes clear. What was the word used, which you then? How would you translate mukufamba famba? Walking around where?
That's it.
It's contextual.
Contextual.
Just suggest, we know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But we want to find the best way of putting it on paper.
I think what we understand it to mean is that perhaps he was accompanying at some point Mr. Mpofu. That's what is coming out.
Okay, witness, can you describe the activities that you refer to as Mukufamba Famba Imom? So that we don't have difficulties with that. Just give the details of what you are referring to. I think that's a fair.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah. To clarify my.
Yes. So no, just describe what you mean by Mukufamba Famba.
Yeah. So ndinga sanangudza nemienzaniso.
No. Tell us exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
Was he walking about, or was he, as you said, attending the meetings? Was he saying anything in the meetings? Was we want the because as you can see, that is what it appears it's of concern to them. So they want to know what the extent of his involvement, what he was doing. Was he doing anything? Was he saying anything? Whatever. Just tell us, because Kufamba Famba is your own word. It's a description of what you were saying. But we want to see what you were observing and experiencing with you.
Yeah, my Lord Mashita, chapa bata pachateka. So ndoda kushandisa menzaniso, and I want to insist. Ndoda kushandisa menzaniso. Kana ndichiti kufambisa nekufamba famba. Zvinorevei to me.
Of what I'm trying to tell the court.
So, pama meetings mashoma andakatenda, meetings machinji zvawo aitwa netimiri.
Most
of course,
of the
unozoona ma-minutes ne-attendance.
So most of the meetings were being held by my team, but I would have sight of the attendance as well as the minutes.
But from a meetings mashoma ataiita neblack andakatenda. Chimombe ndo vaita sekunga ndo vatori muridzi wenyaya.
So from the few meetings that I attended with the black deck, it would appear as if Mr. Chimombe was the one who was like
the decision maker.
The decision maker
in the conversations.
Yes. When we are still at that, how did you arrive at that conclusion? What is it that he was doing that gave you the impression that he was the brains behind it? He was the one who. No, I'll withdraw. I'll rephrase the word.
So
that we save time.
As you can see, witness, this appears to be the crux of the matter.
Yeah.
You can tell from this. So don't tell us about your judgment. What you concluded to be the case. Tell us. Obviously, there's something that led you to arrive at that conclusion. Yeah. That is what we want to share. Then we will make our own conclusions. Yeah. So tell us what he was doing. Like I said, I would like say meetings were starting at such a time, so on and so on, will be present, who would be doing the talking, with what respect, such details. We were not there, but I'm trying to throw hints. Tell us your observations, what you were seeing, what they were saying, their contributions they were making. Then we'll now draw our own conclusions.
Okay. So, vividly some of the conversations, I think I
cannot remember vividly some of the conversations, but he was the one who was taking the lead.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was taking the lead and taking the decisions and making the decisions in the discussions.
Yes. I think that's clear enough.
Yes, much clearer.
Well, don't worry, you cross-examine. But now I think it's clearer.
Now, at what point, or first, did you ever get to know the status of the ZIMRA tax clearance certificate and the NASA compliance certificate that were supplied, that were provided when Black Deck tendered this bid?
So takazi kuzvizivawo kana pakuitwa investigations akatanga 2024 ndicharangarira ndobva takazotozvizivawo kubudikidza neZimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission.
We became aware of those documents and during the investigations by ZAC, that must have been in 2024.
Now, at the time that you got to know during investigation, was the contract still going on, or it had been cancelled?
Andicharangarira nemakati investigations akazotanga Ministry of Lands, Dark Ministry of Power.
I cannot remember because when the investigation started, I was no longer with the Ministry of Agriculture. I was now with the Ministry of Public Works.
Now, given what you now know, on hindsight, was there a contract between the government of Zimbabwe and Black Deck? Was there money?
Don't you think that's illegal? You expose him to legal questions. We don't want that. Let's leave it to submissions, if you don't.
You had identified a cancellation, a letter of cancellation that was addressed to Mike Chimombe, which is found on.
Which was addressed to?
Sorry, addressed to Moses Mpofu, the operations manager, according to you, which is found on page 73. He stated inadvertently forgot to tender the executive state now wishes to apply for the production of the cancellation letter to operations manager for the attention of Moses Mpofu.
Okay. Any objections, Mr.
No objections, my lord.
So it shall be Exhibit 10 by consent. So that is the letter by the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fish, Water and Rural Development, Fisheries, okay, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, dated 19 August.
Thank you, my lord.
2022, sorry, I left out the year.
Now, Dr. Pasera, was there any prejudice to the government of Zimbabwe, actual prejudice arising from the contract that is entered into BlackBerry Private Limited?
Ndisingazivi pari zvino but kubva zvandakabvako Ministry of Lands and Agriculture, that was in November 2023, prejudice yanga iripo pakuti takapa advance payment and taitarisira a certain delivery and a certain performance.
I would not know about now, but during the time when I was still with the Ministry of Agriculture, there was prejudice which was suffered by the ministry because we had advanced an amount to BlackBerry.
So, second pangu, it was at two levels. Number one, time year performance was time management and targets. And number two, the value lost by the time by land.
So from my own view, it was a twofold in that
Time lost?
time lost.
You said time for performance with targets,
Yes.
and the next.
And the next is the monetary loss. Maria Buddha, zvinakuya, zvobva zvanyepa futi kuti zvavapo izvozvisi.
Because the money had been advanced and no deliveries were made. But then there was also false information that certain deliveries had been made.
Do you know how much at the time left? The amount of prejudice, if you know, every time you left the Ministry of Agriculture.
You are going to require the witness to calculate, but I think we can easily ascertain that from what he has said.
In that
I don't
case,
think,
I would call the person again.
yeah.
I have no further question for the witness, my lord. In evidence, in chief.
Thank you very much. I think
The time is 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, yes. Convenient time for a break, for lunch. How much time? Sorry, let me start from here. The usual 1 hour. The usual 1 hour or less? Okay, how much time do you propose, State?
I think Mr. Maduga is surprised up his sleeve.
Okay, Mr. Madu.
We won't be able to do the process or anything like that. We need to have some conversation with our clients in the course of the lunch. We will not be able to do the process
This afternoon.
this afternoon. Yeah. It's a long witness, it's an important witness for our case.
Yes. Your name, by the way, Mr. Yes. Are you available tomorrow?
Tomorrow is a Friday, right?
Yes, we definitely require you so that you complete your evidence whilst your evidence in chief
So
is still fresh.
depending on who are that,
Yes, I need to explain that you know the legal position, the law, the position is that court business takes precedence over everything, unfortunately. But of course, for a good reason, you may be excused. But our expectation is that we want to deal with your evidence while it is still fresh in our minds, and in fact, the indication is that you are going to be long, because all these lawyers are going to ask you questions, and the prosecutor, the state counsel, will ask you questions again, to straighten up issues if need be. So please dedicate the whole day tomorrow to this case. But what I suggest is that we could start a bit earlier, say at 9 o'clock.
Tomorrow at 9.
Yes.
If the court is available, the state will be happy to be at 9.
Yes, we can be. I'm sure the registrar will have to make sure that I don't have work that suddenly comes up. But anyway, it's within my power to direct you not to. Yes.
My Lord, I just rise to indicate, I don't know whether this court room building will be.
Oh, that's the usual problem
Yeah.
that we encounter.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, we are going to be able to start because the courtroom we are supposed to be using is not big enough to accommodate the audience in this matter. So, yet this court is dedicated for other court business. So, what time? Why can't we go back to? Well, is it possible? Is it possible to go back to Court P?
Which court?
Court P? Because I don't see the numbers here to be too large for us to be accommodated. I don't know about the live streaming. You have used court. You can stand up. You have used Court B. Court. You know the court. Can we use that?
I think we just need to make a suspect to see how best we can.
Well, I think let's stick to this court. Let's stick to this court. It's ideal for everything. Yeah. So it won't be early, Mr. Senna. It will probably be half past 10 or 11. And 11 is more convenient, so that we don't keep him waiting here. He can do other business and then come here for 11.
Yes.
Very well. So we will release you for other important government business in the morning, but please make sure that you are here for 11. You can be here at 5 to 11, but you are usually subject to the direction of the State Council. Yes. The court will start at 11. Yes. Very well. Anything else? Stand up, accused persons.
My Lord,
Yes. Okay. You may resume your seats.
there's a number of witnesses who are also usually come in. I don't know whether there's a specific. Now that we are going to start at 11, it means that tomorrow we might just deal with one witness.
That's my prediction.
So we might as well agree on the next trial date so that witnesses are warned for the next trial date, available date.
Very well. You can call the witnesses in. Meanwhile, registrar, find a date. It must be a date which is close. Do we have another trial next week? What about criminal offense?
Just the application. What about criminal offense?
So we can utilize. We could utilize Monday. Because thereafter, the other members of the court will be committed elsewhere. And see how much progress we make on Monday.
My Lord, I have a matter that is set down before your brother Judge Justice Chimombe.
What is it?
It is an application.
What time?
It's set down for 9.
9.
Yes.
I'm sure you can manage that. Or if you need my intervention, I think I'll be able to deal with that. So all you need to do is to remind the registrar here in the morning that you are appearing before Justice Chimombe, so that I can liaise with him and alert him that you will be required in this court at 10, so that you won't have difficulties. Well, I'm saying just in case you don't complete by 10.
Yes.
He must be aware, so that your case gets priority. I'm sure these are issues that we can manage. Yes.
Sorry to intervene. The accused person who Mr. Jetelo represents on Monday to try to appear before both of them before justice to go for itself on Monday too.
For a fresh trial?
Yes, the entire week.
It doesn't matter. That's an issue I can deal with as well.
Yes, I don't have to ask you.
That trial hasn't started, isn't it?
Yes, it hasn't.
It starts on Tuesday.
The trial is on Tuesday, it's 3rd of June. So
Yes. Whatever the case, any other business before any other court, except before the judge president. I'll be able to manage that.
yeah, we are also of the view that in the light of the progress we are making, we might need to finish this trial first
Yes.
before we get to the other trial.
Yes. Very well. So any other housekeeping issue?
If the witness
Yeah. Let's just
warned before,
for Monday. You need to warn not all of them. You need to select which ones you want on Monday.
both of them,
They are short witnesses. Short witnesses.
They are most likely not going to be cross-examined. I know my colleagues.
Okay. Let me have the names of the witnesses, starting with the lady. Sorry? Garrison Neta. Don't worry, you won't see how I'm spelling your names here. Sorry? Very well, witnesses, we thank you very much for coming to court today. The State Council has advised us that your evidence is expected to be, testimony, your respective testimonies are expected to be very short. And we note that from the summaries that we have. But we are dealing with a witness who is likely to take very long. So we are excusing you for now, and we'll be able to hear your testimonies on Monday. What is the date on Monday? It shall be the 2nd of June. My estimation is that we'll be able to deal with all of you on Monday. As to the time, it's 11 o'clock. We can't start at 10 for some other reasons here. So you'll be here for 11. Subject, of course, to any other instructions you may receive from the State Council, because you are state witnesses. Yes, as for now, you're excused. But like I explained before, you won't receive any further paperwork requiring you to attend. My warning is enough. If you fail to attend, you'll have disrupted the progress in this trial, and we don't want you to do that. Thank you very much. Witnesses, the 4 witnesses, you can leave for now. Mr. Witness, I'm sure you've been following the conversations. As you can see, there are about 4 lawyers representing the accused persons. They now need to make their own deliberations so that they approach your evidence in a systematic manner. It's only natural. So we are giving them this afternoon to organize themselves and decide what questions they may want to put to you. We normally want to complete the evidence of a witness before postponing a matter overnight. This is because there's always this natural temptation to discuss what has arisen in court in your evidence. But we know that you're a responsible official at your level, and we don't need to, particularly when you are dealing with somebody who signed the Official Secrets Act, you really know how to manage information. So don't be tempted to discuss this evidence with anybody, including your wife. Just wait until you complete giving your evidence. For some reason, through experience, we are able to tell when somebody has discussed their evidence. It's very easy to tell. I don't know how. Maybe it's just a question of experience. And we know that you have understood the warning very well. So you will go home tonight and come back tomorrow for 11 o'clock. So for now, you're excused. You can step down.
Thank you, my lord.
Accused person, stand up. Very well, you have followed the discussions. You will continue with your trial tomorrow. What's the date tomorrow? 30th? Yeah, 30 May at 11 o'clock. So this trial is adjourned to the 30th of May at 1100 hours. Thank you. Any other business, Registrar?
No further business, ma'am.
This court will rise.